Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. As always, not always, because we don't always ask, but it would be great if any of you guys listening can obviously follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, especially because that's somewhere we post all the episodes. And if you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google or Amazon, that would be awesome. That helps with the pod. It helps, give us a reason to keep doing it. Um, so yeah. And by the way, of course, Mr. Saquon Barkley had an incredible play on Sunday with his backwards hurdle. And it's been shared everywhere and anywhere. And it felt like a great opportunity to bring a new shirt to the merch line. We don't really do much with it. As far as merch goes, we have a hat. We have our Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia hoodie, my personal favorite. And then we have a casual tee for maybe you have a special someone who's not super into football, but they want to support. It's a shirt that just says, "This is my football tee," with a little kicking tee on it, and it says "Go Birds." So great shirt there. But Saquon Barkley. So uh, we have a shirt now that has him. Basically looks like it's in a museum. It's got a nice frame, photo frame over it, with a little plaque that says the backwards hurdle. Um, cool little quick design. I'll be getting one for myself, but yeah, if you guys want to buy a Saquon Barkley shirt and represent the pod, you can find our shop on Etsy. It's you can just honestly go to Etsy.com and or the Etsy app, and if you type in Saquon Barkley backwards hurdle, it's like one of the first like 10 options, I think. So check that out. If you want to buy one, go ahead, please do. If you have questions, send the pod a DM on Instagram, or send me a DM. We all fam here in the club. But anyways, it's gonna be a solo episode today. Tim and I could not get on the same schedule this week. Um, so I'll just be solo in this one. But um, we'll have him back next week. Curious to hear his stories of WWE. He was in London. So he was taking part in some of that. Not taking part, but he was, watching as a fan. Well, he might have been taking part. I don't know. But without further ado, so this is a mainly football podcast. We will get into the football. Eagles won again, 4 in a row, baby. Um, beat Dougie P and the Jags 28-23. They were up what 20? No, 22 nothing, I think it was. Um, and then we just kind of let them get back in. Now, granted, there was a couple bullshit ref calls in this game. Like if the Eagles would have lost, the storyline would have been that, obviously they blew a lead, but that the refs caused this game because we had the 2 point conversion with Jalen was called. uh they said it wasn't good on the field. They reviewed it. The replay clearly showed the ball broke the playing field, and then the refs came back. I was like, nah, it's still not good enough. No, no, no good. And we're like, what? We as consumers, fans, can see that he crossed the plane. What don't you see? But that was not as egregious as the Saquon Barkley fumble, which had the dumbest explanation I've ever heard. So essentially, Saquon fell. The falling to the ground caused the ball to be fumbled, right? And so since the naked eye, the ref said nobody touched him, Jags recovered, right? Um, and it was like on their own, like 30 or 40. That led to a Jaguars touchdown, I believe. Um, but he actually was touched. Matter of fact, the reason he fell was because he got tripped up by a Jaguars player who, if I remember correctly, like hit his foot. So that caused him to trip, stumble, hit the ground, ball fumble, ball recovered by Jacksonville. The problem here is that they reviewed it, said it wasn't a fumble, which is bullshit. And then the head, I believe it was the head of officiating, I guess in New York or whatever, came out and was like, yeah, well, you know, we looked at it and he was contacted by a Jaguar player, but then he ran into his own player and that's what caused him to stumble. Like, what? It's he was still touched by a player of the opposite team. The by rule, he was touched and then went down. That is down. There is no fumble. So the, I don't know why they were trying to cover it up and just didn't admit it. But yeah, that was bad. It was really bad because honestly, you take that away, the Saquon would have gotten a first down on the next play probably because he got a bit of chunk yards on that, or maybe it was a first down. I don't remember, but I, I guarantee. I don't want to guarantee, but I'm highly confident that if that fumble never happened, we would have it wouldn't have even been a close game. We probably would have won 35 to 10. Like I honestly. So some people were upset by the letting the Jags get back in. I think for the most part, Eagles played really well. Just want to pull up the game stats here. I mean, Jalen, I mean, he had a couple. This game he wasn't as clean as I think a lot even against Cincy, but he oh, I typed in week 9 in Google and hit images and it's just a fucking baby's fetus because I didn't specify. Week 9 NFL. Um, okay. Now that we're back on track. So, yeah, I'm just trying to look here. So, 18 to 24, really good. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and our rushing score. Um, he hasn't had a turnover in four games. His QB rating is like been 130 and above. He's playing really well. And when AJ Brown got hurt before halftime, he was like, I think they said he was like 7 of 8 or something, or 7 of 9 targeting other receivers after AJ went down. So that was a concern, but he stepped up. Hit Jahan Dotson came alive. He was hitting Calcaterra. Of course, Devontae stepped up, had a really good game. Devontae 4 catches, 87 yards and a tutty. Man, what a beautiful touchdown that was. I think that was it third and actually hold on, the replay's right here. I can see. Oh, I gotta watch an ad. It was it was third and 22 from the Jaguars 26-yard line. And Jalen threw absolute beautiful ball. Like I never understood when people say he can't throw the deep ball. The only time I ever saw like him struggle with the deep ball was in the Super Bowl, but he stepped on his own player's foot when he let go when he threw that Hail Mary at the end of the game. That's why it never hit. But besides that, like honestly, I think he throws a better deep ball than he does an intermediate ball. Because my one of my biggest not issues, but one of the biggest weaknesses I think Jalen has is that for as strong as he is, and granted, arm mechanics of a football does not equate to just because you're strong, you can throw a football really well, right? Um, I mean, Matt Stafford can throw a ball like 100 yards, and he's not like the most built guy in the world. Um, but the zip on his ball, he does not throw a super quick football, right? Um, which is a reason I think a lot of times the screens don't work super well. I mean, when's the last time you saw a wide receiver screen not almost get picked off or gain more than 1 yard? Because the ball is not getting there fast enough. So the deep balls, he's able to, I mean, throw it on a dime. They get there in time. You like that rhyme there? But yeah, I don't know. That's the only real gripes I ever have with Jalen are um like pocket awareness, not even pocket awareness, but like getting rid of the ball quickly, uh doing a better job of like scanning the field and not just going to AJ every time. Um and then obviously holding on to the ball. Yeah. And then just the zip. He doesn't have the zip. Some quarterbacks like throw fucking heaters, but Jalen, yeah, he just doesn't. He still throws a good ball. It's just not the fastest, and I think that's why those wide receiver screens don't work. Um, to be honest, I'm surprised the Eagles don't run more running back screens. I mean, I guess in the NFL, I mean, in Madden and college football games, they work great, but in the NFL, we don't. I feel like we don't see a ton of running back screens as much. But getting off topic. But yeah, Jalen played great. Um, I just wanted to point that out. I love him. Saquon obviously started the show, 27 carries, 159 yards, 5.9 yards per carry average, and a tutty. He also had 40 yards on three catches through the air. So 199 all-purpose yards. Yeah, he's good at sports for sure. For sure. Um, no, he's been, I mean, him and Derrick Henry. Are him, Derrick Henry, and we can throw in Jamar Chase because he's having a good year, like I said he would. They're having a phenomenal year. There's those three, as long as they continue stay healthy, they'll be the in the running for offensive players of the year. Um, Saquon, I heard one commentator bring up his um usage. Because I mean, 27 carries, three catches, so that's 30 times he's touching the ball. Is that is that volume going to catch up to him? And, he's had a history of injuries, but I don't think so. I mean, he looks healthy. He takes spells when he needs to. You'll see him tap himself out and get a quick breath and, you know, whatever. And he's right back in a couple plays later. I will say at the trade deadline, I was kind of hoping for, I mean, it's more of like a fun idea than it is like an idea that makes sense, but trading for Miles Sanders, bring him back to Philly because Gainwell. I mean, last year Gainwell was solid, but this year, I mean, he had 5 carries for 9 yards. What the hell does that do? I just think when he goes in there, the offense gets super flat because he's only getting 2-3 yards maybe. Um, and he just runs right into the line. Um, and I like Kenny G, but he's been very mediocre this year. So, but. I mean, even Anais Smith got a carry. They're trying to get him involved. Weird. I think it was on like a reverse or something. One carry for 2 yards. But yeah. Although the defense played well. Uh, yeah, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, you cannot ask for like a better duo there. And it's very reminiscent of Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown. Well, I think that draft was Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, Michael Lewis, if I'm not mistaken. And rebuilt the Eagles secondary for many, many years. That was a great secondary. Because then you had Brian Dawkins, obviously. And Quentin Michael came along after that, but that's a whole another can of worms. Only one sack. I was not happy with that. Um, who was it? Sweat. Well, okay, two. Sweat had 2 sacks, but besides that, not the pressure. It was getting in the beginning, and then I guess because the Jags were getting the ball more, they were kind of on the field too much. But overall, I think the Eagles played well. 6-2. I mean, Sirianni can't be, you really can't keep gambling away points like this. I get it. You want to be aggressive. I'm fine with going for two like once. But then look what happened. Jake Elliott missed a field goal. Let your kicker get into a groove by kicking fucking extra points. Why take a guaranteed one with one of the best kickers in the league, then risk it for two when you're just gonna try and the worst part is I hate trying to go for 2 points on the tush push. Don't put Jalen in jeopardy of getting injured for 2 points when you can get a guaranteed one. It does not make sense to me. So that's my issue with that. But obviously, this game was highlighted by a couple key plays. I felt like the whole game was like a highlight reel. A lot of great plays. Like I said, Jahan Dotson made a really great circus catch. It's like a one-hander, and then he pinned it to himself and then was able to corral it. Devontae obviously had a one-hander in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Um, the Kobe Dean had a game-sealing interception in the end zone, which was awesome to see. Hell, our linebackers have better hands than our secondary. So that was a great way to end the game. But play of the game, and honestly, when we get to what are they called? The ESPYs, the ESPN's awards. This might be play of the year still by then. I mean, Saquon Barkley. The thing is, like the hurdle obviously is the main draw here, but I've watched this so many times that I'm starting to get like more impressed by the spin move because he takes like he plants and then is able to just spin right out of that, fool the motherfucker, and then his body just like says, "We're gonna jump backwards now." If you ever watched the more recent Dragon Ball show, Dragon Ball Super, uh Goku gets like a new like a Super Saiyan form. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that. He gets a new form called Ultra Instinct where his body basically moves on its own to like defend himself. And I saw all these comments on Instagram and Facebook and stuff of people being like, "Yo, Saquon got Ultra Instinct," because he was in an interview with I guess where were we on CBS after the game, and he was like, "Yeah, just my body just reacted to it, and I just did it." And everyone in the comments was like, "Damn, bro's got Ultra Instinct. Like he's built like that." But I mean, I've watched football for a long time. I've seen some really great the OBJ catch is still, up there as one of the best things I saw just because of the where it was, it was a touchdown and I hate to praise the Giants, but I think the biggest thing people don't realize is like Eli Manning threw a dart. Eli Manning, I don't never liked him, obviously, but like that pass was perfect because it dropped right into Odell, like right where Odell was going. Um, but yeah, that obviously getting as he was getting flat, like pass interference with catching the ball with one hand, falling backwards. But this one, I mean, I haven't watched a highlight replay of a single play this much probably since Deshaun Jackson's punt return against the Giants. I The other day I was just on Instagram Reels watching it, TikTok, watching it. Loved seeing people's reactions too. That's also the best part. But man, Saquon is so fucking good. So athletic. Um, I just but yeah, the whole play from the juked out the first guy, came back, spin move the next guy, and took like 2 steps. Just said, "All right, we're jumping backwards." Backwards hurdles the other guy. Funny enough, if that hurdle happened I guess a little sooner, those two Jaguars players would have collided with each other because they hit Saquon about at the same time. So or if he had ducked after, could you imagine? He backwards hurdles, then he ducks to avoid a tackle of two players come at him. The end zone was there. He could have ran after that. That would have been one of the greatest plays in NFL history to do all this and then score a touchdown. But that's enough time on Saquon. Saquon Barkley for president. That's all I want to say. But all that talking's got me parched. We're gonna open this beer together because I actually have never tried it. And since Tim's not here to join me, we will crack it open together. So it's I guess they're doing all their seasonal stuff. It's a Victory. Oh my God, there's a glare. Victory Stout. It's called Layered Up. It's got a little fox on it. Nice winter design with a little sweater design at the bottom, but let's get a little. Hopefully, you can't hear my cat. Portia's just purring into the mic. Nice little ASMR for you there. Cheers. And this is what we like about the pod. There is no, there's a little bit of editing, but we like when it's natural. So y'all just talking football and drinking a beer with me now. So, but enough rambling. Rest of the games, that's a solid stout. I didn't even review it. It's a very, it has a little spice, like not like spice, like hot spice, but it does have a little like some kind of, I don't know, it's a little hop to it, but it's a stout, so I don't know. Anyways, elsewhere around the league, last Thursday night, with the Jets beat the Texans 21-13. Jets needed that game. And I've been saying to Tim, like the Texans, man, I love D'Amico Ryans. Obviously, he played for the Eagles. I was always a fan of always a fan of his when he was a linebacker for the Texans and then for the Birds. But yeah, they've been a little iffy this year, and I know they have a lot of injuries, especially wide receiver. But yeah, the Jets just needed that game more too. So they are somewhat relevant, but they're still kind of cooked. The Panthers, Portia, get down. The Panthers beat the Saints 23-22, and then the Saints the next day um fired Dennis Allen, which again I said to Tim, I think it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. So even their own players were tweeting, sorry we suck, whatever. But it's not good. Portia, you have to get down. Um, what are you doing? Okay, sorry. Commanders beat the Giants 27-22. Giants held in there, man, but it was a weird game. I mean, so Daniel Jones, I think at halftime he had 0 passing yards from all the sacks and stuff. Uh, one touchdown pass. Yeah, yes, 0 passing yards, but one touchdown pass and like 40 rushing yards. Strange stat. Classic Daniel Jones. But Commanders held on to win. Next game we had the Bills won in not overtime, but they had I think a last second field goal against the Dolphins, 30-27. I mean, the Dolphins are pretty much cooked. It's just it is what it is at this point for them. Having two out for so long killed them, but the Chargers took care of the Browns 27-10. Would have liked to see the Chargers are a weird team. I can't tell what's going on with them. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're just kind of floating around. But Titans beat the Patriots 20-17 in overtime. I mean, we had what, three? I mean, if you want to count two of the Eagles plays, we had four insane plays this past week. I mean, we had Garrett Wilson in the Jets game had a Jordan logo one-handed touchdown, you know, which I thought it was a good catch, but I feel like people are making it look sound way better than it really was. I mean, he caught it in front of him and it was with one hand. I mean, it's not, we see one-handed catches all the time. I think it was just the fact that he was for a touchdown and the way he was in the air, it looked like he was the Jordan logo. But anyways, we had that. We had the Saquon hurdle. We had the Devontae one-hander. But yeah, this one, Drake May, I think scrambled for like eight or so seconds, and then found a Ramondre Stevenson, who shout out Ramondre Stevenson for messing up my parlay because you can't run the ball, or the Patriots can't run the ball. But yeah, he ran around for like 8 or 10 seconds, dodged a couple sacks, and then as he was getting hit, threw it to the end zone, and Ramondre Stevenson caught it, and they went to overtime, but they ended up losing. But it's a hell of a play. Uh, we had the Falcons beat the Cowboys 27-21. It really wasn't even that close. I think the Falcons pretty much dominated most of this game. Dak Prescott got hurt. I can't remember the last time I saw someone tear their hamstring or strain their hamstring on a throw. So that was different. But he's out for at least 4 games, I believe. Um, See, Lamb got hurt, but I think he's still going to play this week against the Eagles. But yeah, Falcons are looking good. I mean, they're in every game. You know, they barely lost to the Chiefs. They um obviously barely beat the Eagles, but uh then we had the Bengals put on the Raiders 41-24. Bengals, I mean, Eagles just took care of them pretty easily and then they destroy the Raiders, but Raiders are just, man, I thought they would be so much nicer. They just suck. And every week they bench a quarterback. What kind of confidence is your offense going to get if you're benching your quarterback every week? I don't get it. But Ravens had a good comeback, or not comeback, but a good bounce back win. Get right game against the Broncos, 41-10. I preached the Broncos defense all year, but they obviously gave up a couple points there. Surprising, Cardinals beat the Bears 29-9. Did y'all know that the Cardinals are in first place in the NFC West? I bet you wouldn't have thought that a week going into week 10. Because the 49ers, I think, are 500. Seahawks are around 500. And the Rams, I think, are right there too. But Niners have the lead right now. So very curious, very curious. Uh, Rams beat the Seahawks 26-20 in overtime. Great comeback from the Rams. I mean, Geno Smith, I think he threw a pick six when they were in the red zone. Like, you can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. And they were up, I think. Yeah. Lions beat the Packers 24-14. It was actually I think the Packers scored late because it was a much bigger game. Much more dominant win for the Lions. But they're scary. I will say they've impressed me because I did not think they would be as good as they were last year. I thought they would have a bit of a drop off, but in fact, they are better. So yeah, they're by far the NFC favorites right now to represent the Super Bowl. I think I think the depends on the health of the 49ers, but the Eagles will definitely challenge if the Eagles continue this path they've been on. The Commanders should challenge. I can't tell if the Commanders are going to drop off at all at any point. They're very much like the Texans of last year, so see. But yeah, NFC is really going to go through Detroit. They're going to have the 1 seed, and we'll see what happens. But crazy that in the in the same year we have NFL players wanting to be traded to the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders. Who would have thought? I could have never predicted that. That would be said in a sentence. But they're both killing it. Gotta give them credit. Vikings beat the Colts 21-13 on one of the worst Sunday night football games I've ever watched. And then Chiefs beat the Bucks 30-24 in overtime. I did not get to watch this game, but I assuming it was let's see my homie stats because he's been up and down. He threw the ball 44 times. All right. Mahomes was did he have any picks? No picks. Good for you, Mahomes. 34 of 44, 291 yards, three tutties. I remember hearing that Travis had a game. 14 catches for 100 yards. My God, just feed the man. That's a 7.1 average. That's terrible. But hey, get your catches, man. Um, Kareem Hunt, 27 carries, 106 yards. So this was a shootout. Damn, I'm just kind of upset I missed it. Baker only had 200 yards though, and they really didn't run the ball at all either. So I wonder how the Bucks kept up with them. Hmm. Well, that is a wrap on week 9. We're now going into more than halfway through the season. That is so sad, but time be moving. So since Tim's not here, we don't have studs and duds. Obviously, I would like to think Saquon would have been one of his studs. Um, Daniel Jones probably would have been one of his duds. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Dennis Allen would have been one of his duds because one way to get on the duds list is to lose your job or get fired. So, but um, so no studs and duds, no too much whiz. Uh, we're just kind of a nice chill episode without all that stuff. Bring it back next week, but uh, guess we can get right into the next week 10. So power rankings. We just posted those today, Thursday, on our social media. So we had us Chiefs at number one still. I mean, they're undefeated. I do think the Lions are playing better right now, but they're undefeated, so they're number one. Lions at two, Bills at three, Ravens at four. That's all unchanged from last week. Commanders and Eagles move up. Commanders at five, Eagles at six. Packers stay at seven, or I think they moved down. I think they were at high. I think they were higher. So the Packers move back to seven. Falcons move up from not being in the top 10, or they were a couple weeks ago. Now they're back in. Texans were kicked out for losing to the Jets. And like I said, they've been kind of not playing up to their level. Vikings at nine, Steelers at 10. And then as far as the game picks of last week, we had another tie. I think me and Sam tied last week. And then this week, my buddy Alex was on, and him and I both went 10 and 5. So I've been hitting 10 and 5, 10 and 6 the last couple of weeks, which is it's a good record. Tim went 9 and 6, so just right behind us. Overall, I'm sitting at 84 wins, 53 losses, picked correctly. Well, correct game picks. Tim is at 79 and 57, and our guest picks are 78 and 59. I think that math is right. So yeah, tight race, and we're all positive. That's the most important thing. We are all have a positive record. All right, let me take a sip because when you have no co-host, you just fucking talk. All right. Week 10, Thursday Night Football, aka today. Oh, today when I'm recording. Bengals and the Ravens. Ooh, I'm gonna turn it on right after I'm done this episode. Great game. Tim is going with the Ravens. Hmm. I'm going to it's in Baltimore, and they're wearing their like purple jerseys with their dumb. I don't like their purple helmets because the Raven logo is just so. It looks like a uh children's book logo. Like it's not a very intimidating Raven. Like it's a little too peaceful looking, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think they need this game a lot. If they lose, it really hurts their chances of playoffs, but they gotta win. So I'll take the Bengals. Giants at the Panthers. Toilet Bowl game of the week. And it's only the second game. 9:30. Oh, it's in Germany. Oh, I feel so bad for them. Uh, I gotta think the Giants are gonna get a win here. They've been close in enough games, and their defense has still been playing solid. So I'll roll with the G-men. Tim will also roll with the G-men. Patriots at the Bears. What do Tim and I like to say? It's a get right game right here. I'm gonna take Chicago. He's also gonna take Chicago. 49ers at the Buccaneers. And the Bucks have been on a losing streak. I would love to give them a win here, but 49ers off a bye week, I don't think I can bet against that. So I'll take the Niners. Tim's also on the Niners. Broncos at the Chiefs. This could be the game. This could be the game where the Chiefs, some of these teams that go undefeated for a long time, they slip up. They have a dumb loss. I think this could be the week. You know what? I think this will be my bold prediction upset of the week. I'm gonna take the Broncos to beat the Chiefs. Tim's obviously gonna take the Chiefs, but next thing we got Bills at the Colts. Colts are a mess at quarterback. They don't know who the hell they want to play. And the Bills are a top five team in the NFL right now. So I will take Buffalo. Tim is also taking Buffalo. Steelers at the Commanders. Um, Depends on how you want to look at this. I mean, so let's see. Tim's taking the Steelers. I, I feel like for the Eagles, I would rather the Commanders. I probably would want them to win because if they lose, they're going to need like extra motivation to win a rebound game, right? I still don't know about the Steelers. We have them in our top 10, but I don't know. I don't trust their offense. So I'm going to take the Commanders, and Tim is on the Steelers. So next game, Jags or Vikings at the Jaguars. The Vikings are still, I mean, they've fallen back a bit, but they're still a good team. The Jaguars are just a mess. I'm gonna have to take the Vikings. Tim's also taking the Vikings. Falcons at the Saints. The Saints are a mess. Just fired the coach. I'm taking Atlanta. Tim's also taking Atlanta. It's a pretty easy week of game picks, to be honest. Not a lot of tight games. Titans at the Chargers again. Chargers have looked good. Titans have not looked good. I will take the Chargers. Tim will also take the Chargers. Jets at the Cardinals. I'm gonna take the Jets just because they're on crisis mode and they need to win games. Cardinals are a weird team. I still don't understand how they're good enough to be leading their division at 5-4, I think they are. But they're in first place. So I'll take the Jets. Tim's taking the Cardinals. Eagles at the Cowboys. Tim is on the Birds. I'm going to pick the Birds, but I will say I'm a little cautious about because even as professional athletes, they will overlook a bad team. No Dak Prescott. I think Cooper Rush is starting. Uh, if I recall correctly, Ben DiNucci or not Ben DiNucci, I think he's on the Giants. Maybe it was Cooper Rush. There was a game where the Cowboys didn't have Prescott and their backup like torched the Eagles a couple years ago. So it could be a trap game. The Eagles could be looking forward to their Washington game on next Thursday. But fingers crossed they beat the ass of the Cowboys and take care of business. So go Birds. So I'm picking the Eagles. Lions, that's the Texans. It's Sunday Night Football. I mean, in Houston, I don't know. Does Houston have much of a home field advantage? This one's tough. I I think the Lions are just too good. I mean, this could be the game that they slip up and they take a loss, recollect themselves and get back on track, but they're too good to pick against right now. So I'm gonna take Detroit. Tim's also taking Detroit. And then Dolphins at the Rams. Rams are the Rams are playing well. They're moving on all cylinders right now. Dolphins are a team that is not playing super well. They're staying in games, but they're not winning games. So I'm going to take the Rams. Tim is also going to take the Rams. So a lot of similar picks here, but like I said, it's a pretty, I mean, Vegas, this might be a week that I put down my game picks because some of these are pretty clear cut team on paper. This a lot of these teams should take care of business. So we will see. But that's a wrap on this episode. Um, I thank you all for joining or listening to my yap session by myself. Excuse me. We'll have Tim back on next week. And yeah, hopefully we're talking about another Eagles victory. Hopefully we're talking about 7-2. Hopefully we're talking about how good the Eagles look and on their way to battle the Commanders for the division title early in the like man, this game's important for the Eagles to take care of because it helps with the division race. But then the week after that, Commanders, that's going to be for first place if both teams are, both teams win this weekend. So can't look too far ahead, but it's definitely going to be on their minds. So we will see what they do. But till next time, peace out and go Birds, baby.